In the beginning, before the mountains rose and rivers ran their course, before the first dawn broke across the sky, there was only chaos. It was a shapeless void, a swirling sea of nothingness, where silence reigned and form did not yet exist. From this formless world, the first divine beings came into existence. Kami, who floated above the heavens and gazed upon the misty expanse below. Among them were Izanagi, he who invites, and Izanami, she who invites, a divine pair entrusted with a sacred mission to bring order to the chaos and create the land that would one day become the home of humanity. The elder gods placed the two deities upon the floating bridge of heaven and gave them a jeweled spear, the Amino Nuboko. They dipped it into the endless sea beneath them and stirred. As they raised it back, droplets fell from the spear's tip and hardened into the first island, Onogoro, the island of beginnings. It was here that Izanagi and Izanami descended and established their dwelling. Upon this island they built a great pillar around which they would perform the marriage ritual to unite their divine power. The ceremony began as they circled the pillar. Yet when they met, it was Izanami who spoke first. Though this may have seemed a simple gesture, the act disturbed the harmony of the ritual. Their first union produced children, but these were malformed, unsightly beings who were cast away. Saddened, the gods returned to the heavens to seek guidance from the elder deities. The elder gods revealed their mistake. Because Izanami had spoken before Izanagi, the natural order had been broken. The balance between male and female must be preserved, and the man was required to speak first. Determined to restore harmony, Izanagi and Izanami repeated the ritual. This time Izanagi spoke before his bride, and the union was complete. From their sacred bond, the islands of Japan began to emerge one after another. Awaji, Shikoku, Oki, Kyushu, Iki, Tsushima, Sado and Honshu rose from the waters, each carrying its forests, mountains and fertile plains. Their task did not end with the creation of land. From their union, countless kami were born, deities who would govern every aspect of nature. Gods of the sea, gods of the winds, gods of the forests and mountains. The world filled with divine energy and life began to flourish. But joy was not eternal. When Izanami gave birth to Kagutsuchi, the god of fire, her body was consumed by flames. The agony overwhelmed her, and despite her divine nature, she succumbed to death. Izanami's spirit descended into Yomi no Kuni, the land of the dead, where shadows and silence ruled. Izanagi was left broken and grieving. In his sorrow he held his wife's fading body, and his tears became rivers that flowed across the land. Rage mingled with despair, and in fury he struck down Kagutsuchi, the fiery child who had caused her death. From the god's blood, more deities were born, symbols of destruction and renewal. But none could ease Izanagi's sorrow. Unable to accept the loss, Izanagi resolved to journey into the depths of Yomi to reclaim his beloved. The underworld was a place of darkness, where the air was heavy and the silence unbroken. He found Izanami in the shadows and begged her to return with him to the world of the living, for their work was not yet finished. Izanami longed to go back, but she told him it was already too late. She had eaten the food of the underworld, binding her to its realm. Still, she agreed to appeal to the gods of Yomi on one condition: he must not look upon her until she was released. Together they began their escape, but Izanagi's heart was, well, restless. Doubt gnawed at him as he walked through the endless dark. He wondered if his wife truly followed, if she still resembled the radiant goddess he remembered. Unable to resist, he lit a torch and turned to gaze upon her. What he saw filled him with horror. Izanami's body had decayed into a corpse, her form twisted and crawling with maggots. She was no longer the goddess of life he had once held, but a being of death bound to Yomi. At that moment, Izanami awoke and saw his betrayal. Enraged, she shrieked in fury and sent the hags of Yomi, the Yomotsu Shikami, to pursue him. Izanagi fled desperately, chased by the foul spirits. He raced toward the surface and at the mouth of Yomi seized a massive boulder and rolled it into place, sealing the entrance. The barrier separated the two forever. Izanami remained in the land of the dead, while Izanagi returned to the living world alone. Their love had been broken by death, and their reunion was no longer possible. Yet their separation also established the eternal division between life and death, the living and the departed. He washed himself in a river, performing the first act of Mythology, a ritual of cleansing that remains central to Shinto practice. As he cleansed his body, new deities were born. From the washing of his left eye came Amaterasu, the radiant goddess of the sun, whose brilliance would illuminate the heavens. From his right eye came Tsukuyomi, the god of the moon who ruled the night. From his nose came Susanoo, the tempestuous god of storms and the sea. These three siblings would become the central deities of the Shinto pantheon, their struggles and triumphs shaping the destiny of the world. Amaterasu in particular became the most revered, for her light was the source of life and growth. The imperial family of Japan traced its lineage to her, claiming descent from the goddess herself. This divine ancestry provided the foundation of Japan's imperial authority, binding the rulers to the heavens. Thus, from Izanagi's grief and purification, the most important kami were born, and the order of the cosmos was secured. The myth of Izanagi and Izanami is more than a tale of gods. It is a reflection of human experience, love and union, the creation of life, the inevitability of death, and the longing for reunion with those lost. It teaches the importance of balance and harmony, as seen in the failed first ritual, and the consequences of breaking natural order. It also explains the origins of life and death, and the necessity of purification to cleanse oneself from defilement. These themes remain deeply embedded in Shinto practice, where rituals of cleansing, reverence for the kami, and respect for the cycles of nature continue to this day. Through this story, the Japanese people found not only their origins, but also a spiritual framework that tied them to the natural world and the divine. The creation of the islands, the birth of countless deities, the tragedy of fire and death, the descent into the underworld, and the purification that gave rise to the sun, moon and storm gods form a cycle of creation, loss and renewal that mirrors the rhythms of existence itself. Even centuries later, the myth is remembered in Shinto shrines, rituals and festivals. It remains a living narrative, not a forgotten legend, shaping cultural identity and connecting the people to their past. From the tears of Izanagi, from the wrath of fire, from the shadows of Yomi, and from the cleansing waters of renewal, the world of Japan was born. The story of Izanagi and Izanami endures because it is not only the tale of divine beings, but the story of humanity itself, of love and grief, of mistakes and consequences, and of the eternal balance between creation and destruction.